Abandoned Churches, published by Jongleurs Publishing, and the lead author on this and photographer is Francis Meslet, and he has got together with several other photographers who also share some of their reflections and thoughts about the images as they go through the book. They tend to focus on churches that are abandoned in Italy, Germany, Belgium, there's one in Portugal, France. So it's very much Central Europe, where they have gone in, observed, and done the urbexing thing of really recording for posterity what they have found, the destruction they have found, and the general decay, and it's all there for generations in the future to see, even when these buildings are long gone. The churches chosen are such an eclectic mix of styles. Some of them go back right to the 9th century, some are much more modern, but what they all have in common is that sense of decay. So you'll get some that are being held up by frames, they're just teetering. Some look as though they've just been literally abandoned last week. I mean, they're a little bit dirty, but there's one where there is a table with flowers and candles, and it looks as though somebody perhaps used them, maybe a month or two ago. Floors have disappeared. I think what I'm struck by is that with the other abandoned series that I've read, so for example Abandoned Italy or Abandoned Spain, the graffiti doesn't feature quite so strongly in this particular volume, which is striking, but there is a sense of these structures still standing. They were once such spiritual centres, and now they are merely buildings. There is one building, they've taken a photograph, it's kind of like an oval, and there are still some sarcophagi kind of placed into the wall. So, families obviously went to these churches, prayed, had baptisms, funerals. So in a way, you have a sense that all life has passed through there. What is different to the other abandoned series I've read is that you have a sense of lives lived in those. You have a sense that, there were parties, there was gaiety. Here, now that the religious element has been removed, there are statues, there are pews, there are beautiful wall paintings still around. What is missing is that kind of sense of life. These are more buildings that were once churches but now are simply edifices, and that's an interesting difference. So people have lived in other buildings, but here people have worshipped, and that leaves a kind of different lingering sense of the building. Once again, the author gives very little indication of where any of these structures are. He might indicate they're in the Trentino Alto Adige or Lombardia or somewhere in Saxony. But more than that, they don't give you any clues, and that's in a way to protect them, because in the other abandoned series, the amount of graffiti and fires and general decay that people have wrought upon these buildings, is quite phenomenal. In these buildings, there are still wonderful sculptures, beautiful frescoes, all kind of waiting to be found. But of course, once they're found and come into the kind of public eye, then probably all is lost. So if you have any interest in ecclesiastical architecture and, that sense of decay and, a sense of history, then I think Abandoned Churches, published by Jongleurs, is a really lovely coffee table to pick up.